Sorry. It's time to go live, Bandit. It's time to go live. Hello, everybody. Rage Against the Machine, Stardust, Freenet, and a Touch of Class in Article 11, Madam X, hello. Tribulation Now, and let's see, Eli D, The Geo Factor 3, Christine S, Silent Walk, and Random Taylor Noose. God. God, Random Taylor Noose says. Sherry, thank you very, very much. And Marty, thank you. You can be quiet in the background. That is okay. Mystic Earth, Mike Love, Analog Synth Player, The Hypocrites Matrix. Hi. Kathy Pickens. Yep. Another channel down, Kathy. Trent Robb, hello. Terry Bowshier, hello. Hi, hi, hi. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. So much going on. I can't believe that we're not screaming from the rooftops, trying to get some of this stopped. We're just gonna sit like sitting ducks, waiting for our own lives to be taken out. Wild at Heart, hello. Did I say hello, Mystic Earth? If not, hello. Doing my time. Hello. If chat is behind for anyone, just speed stream. We'll slow back to normal when it catches up. Okay. I know. Incinerating all of the vinyl chloride toxic waste in 5 different states. Oh, we do things so well here. Oh, we're just so exceptional. I can't stand it. Oh, feels so good. ML, hello. A chemical plant exploded in Illinois a couple of hours ago? Well, I missed that one. Let me show you what I got. Oh, wow. All right, so let's start with, how about riots are breaking out in Atlanta? Riots are currently breaking out at the site of the future police and fire training facility, with Molotov cocktails thrown by protesters as construction equipment is on fire. Oh, yeah. Oh, how fabulous. Look at this. Massive police response is underway at Atlanta's future public safety training facility in Grant Park. Hundreds of activists and protesters are currently clashing with police to stop Cop City, and a police surveillance tower is on fire. Well, I think this needs to be looked into, don't you think? I think so. Well, that's not all that happened today. Let's see. What else do they have on this? Big police response. Yeah. The protesters and activists, I guess, love putting more toxins into the atmosphere, as if we don't have enough. Look at that broad line of toxins in the sky. Oh, well, let's see. Oh, what is this? This is the Bronx in New York, where I was born. Grand Food Concourse in the Bronx, New York, after an e-bike caught on fire. Multiple reports of black, thick smoke seen all across New York City. One person has died. Wow. Look at that. Think maybe that e-bike exploded? Look at this. Oh my God. Well, I'm sorry, that's not just from an e-bike. It obviously started a very big, rapidly spreading fire. Well, as one subscriber in the UK says, we do things in a big way here. Everything's very big. Our fires are very big. Look at this. And that's not the only thing that happened in New York City today. Geez, what else happened? Well, okay, multiple people injured with one fatality by hazardous materials found inside a vehicle in Manhattan. Deadly incident occurred midtown, East Manhattan. But I actually read somewhere that it was Sutton Place and 56th. Sutton Place is an extremely wealthy area in New York City.
There's the car.
I have to wonder if somebody very wealthy might have been targeted. But it doesn't look like a very expensive car. In New York, you have to have plates on the front and back, at least when I was in New York. So, yeah, Sutton Place. Something's going on, and this is not normal. It's fishy, don't you think? It's fishy. Seems fishy. Okay. I have to look for the Chicago. What was it? Chemical fire in Chicago or Illinois? Live video feed. Police action near Cop City. Yeah, I don't know what this is all about, but it's a group apparently. Might be the defund police group. I think we have cells in the woods all over the country. Many of you have asked how we get our news out so damn fast. Well, time to spill some secrets, I guess. Working hard. Reports of a student plane crashing with multiple injuries in Lindenhurst, New York, 3 hours ago.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh my God. Holy shit.
For all of you who don't know where Lindenhurst is, it's in New York, Long Island, New York. The full flight path from where a student pilot was flying on a Cessna plane as it took off from the airport to when it crashed. 3 people on board with serious burns. The plane backed up. Wow. And it crashes in Lindenhurst. Boy. Unbelievable. And it goes down. Jesus. A Piper, not a Cessna. Okay, so we got Manhattan. We've got the Bronx. Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island. They're all boroughs of New York City. So Springfield, Ohio. Raw alerts is not on that chemical fire in Illinois that was posted in the chat. All right, if it's not coming up immediately, then I don't know. You're going to have to send a link to me on that. Okay, so I saw Denim Blue is in the chat, and I want to thank Denim Blue for your donation. Thank you very, very much. Much needed, much appreciated. So let's, why don't we go back to that snow in California, which is really unbelievably bad. Southern California, this is what's happening.
Made it to Crestline, California, and no joke, I didn't realize how bad it was up here. It's like a war zone. I just interviewed a guy carrying MREs up a mountain because he has no food. He had to walk a mile down, walking a mile up this mountain. There's people writing stuff on the snow saying, plow us, help us, because the roads look like this to homes. People, sadly, are probably dying up here, which is crazy to think about.
It's bad. And they are. Leaving notes, help us. Writing it in the snow. What's the problem, Government of California, that you can't get plows up there to plow the roads? And this has been going on. I think now it's like the 12th day. Don't quote me on that. It might be the 13th. It could be the 11th, but it's long. And they're getting more snow. We are incredibly worried about our friend Gudrun Stewart on Ocean View. She is an elderly woman alone. Can anyone do a welfare check on her? Her house is probably the first one on the right as you head up Ocean View from Rim of the World Drive. People are tweeting out, help, they need help. Yes, most buildings in Crestline have collapsed. Goodwin's, the old theater, Ace, Akasha, Linder's, Tires, the post office is closed pending inspection of the roof. Several homes. It's a fucking war zone, and this effeminate government is doing jack shit to help, including stopping civilian helicopters from making deliveries. That sounds about right. There's so much snow, there's no place to put it. We only stayed stocked up for maybe 3 or 4 days, and the grocery store is just down the street, so we're like, it's not a big deal. But then when the grocery store collapsed, and all these trees are snapping, and we're in and out of power, it's really hard right now. The enormity of this event is hard to comprehend. Urgent donations needed for stranded mountain residents and visitors. Humanitarian help is desperately needed for the San Bernardino Mountains. The historic blizzard, lasting 7 days nonstop, left thousands of residents and vacationers in the mountain community stranded, many without food or basic necessities. All roads are closed, and people are walking miles through 5 to 10 feet of snow seeking help and food. Many have walked to food distribution areas just to get some food. Wow. San Bernardino is one of 13 counties for which a state of emergency was declared due to impacts of severe weather. Whew. And more snow is coming. More snow. All right, so this starts midnight tonight. You see this dark blue patch right here? More snow is coming to that same area. Oh, they are bringing it on. They are bringing it on. And I'm just going to focus on that area, but again, I will put this link in the chat. And you should bookmark this site. Check it out on a daily basis to see what's coming to your area. When you see the dark blue, you can just imagine 12 inches plus, 12 or more. The lighter blues is a snow that, is less than 12 inches. The green, obviously, is rain, but when you see the yellow and the red, watch out. The mainstream media is going to be reporting in those areas tornadic activity, hail, heavy winds, downpours, thunderstorms, and of course they're going to say however many millions are threatened by the extreme weather coming. So look at this heavy snow starting on midnight, and we're at 6 a.m. and you still have a lineup of snow. So a whole lot of snow is coming. And that, unfortunately, that starts at midnight tonight and goes on until 6 a.m. And the heavy snow comes back. Snow in northwest California, but also coming down. I don't think that's not as far down as the San Bernardino Mountains. I think that's Lake Tahoe area. Lake Tahoe. Again, this is Tuesday at 6 p.m. More snow coming to Northern California. And see the red and the yellow here for Arkansas and northeast Oklahoma. And that is Wednesday at noon. Starts in Oklahoma at 6 a.m. Wednesday. But if I'm not mistaken, my computer is very slow. Interesting that the owner got a text from the internet provider. It was a congratulatory text. They upgraded the speed, and don't worry, it's not going to cost more. Yay! They upgraded the speed. For days now, it's been slow. Oh my God, it's really slow. More snow coming. Oregon, a lot of heavy snow, southwest Oregon into Northern California. But, come on. You got, by Saturday, March 11th, midnight, you've got a tremendous amount of thunderstorms coming to that area where the snow is. So you have an awful lot of rain coming to that area where all of that snow is. What's going to happen? Tremendous amount of flooding. Tremendous amount of flooding this weekend coming up for those people.
So today we're going to hit on a website called map.geoengineering.org that talks about why this big blizzard is hitting the West Coast. So when you first sign on to this website, they give you a disclaimer saying who they are and all of the projects that they've been doing across the world. Over 1,700 different projects of weather and climate control, and also carbon capture and solar radiation management, blocking out the sun. So one of the first projects I saw on this website was something doing with snow. It's interesting, to increase precipitation. Based on 1952, they've been doing this, and look at who the sponsor is. PG&E, the same people who increased their natural gas prices by up to 50% in 2022 and into 2023. Then we go over to Nevada and we look at their cloud seeding program where they're using drones since 1960s to increase precipitation and augment the weather. Then we go over to this other project and we see increased precipitation in California since 1990s. And who's doing it? The government. Then we move over to the state of Utah and see they've been doing the same thing since 1997. The question is when you mess with weather and do all these things to the weather, what happens when it goes horribly wrong and it puts everybody into a state of emergency? Who's to blame?
Yeah, hey, who's to blame? Look at what they do in Athens, in Greece, with the train derailment there that actually killed 57 people. Yeah. They get pissed. What are they pissed about? Well, that there were not enough safeguards. And the train derailed. Denim Blue linked to what? I'll put the link to this in. But if you could tell me if that's the link that you wanted. So, yeah, okay, well, now I'm going to put the link down to this video, which I hope you all watch it. It's just under 30 minutes. Interview with Douglas Macgregor, who is a former advisor to the Secretary of Defense under Trump. And it's a very good interview. Douglas Macgregor speaks about this war in Ukraine, but he's also talking about Americans. And I posted an excerpt on Twitter.
We have to understand that our government is the best government money can buy. I mean, I listen to people say, oh, China's the new threat. We have to defeat China. Well, first of all, China is not, in military terms, threatening us at all. It's not attacking us, never has. Well, why are we suddenly concerned about China if China really is not militarily engaged in direct action against us, nor will it, in my judgment? Well, follow the money. As Russia winds down, it becomes clear we're not going to win anything in Ukraine. How do you continue to line your pockets if you can't continue to spend money on defense? I mean, defense is one of these things where if you're not careful, someone will wake up and decide, well, you know, the real threats to this country are in the Western Hemisphere. They come from the Caribbean Basin and Mexico. Well, nobody's terribly excited about that because that doesn't justify massive expenditures on the scale of the current defense budget. It's very inexpensive to close your border. It's inexpensive to get control of immigration, much less expensive to go into cities and restore the rule of law. But no one's really interested in doing that. So we let the country bleed and hemorrhage, while at the same time we're pouring money into this place called Ukraine, which is a corrupt black hole. Well, that's because people are profiting from it. And you can see the homes and where they live and how they're enjoying life as a result. Americans need to wake up. That's what I really got to say. Americans have been too complacent, Steve, for too long. They have to understand that no one is coming to save them. If you don't like where the economy is headed, if you don't like the things we're doing, then it's time for you to get involved. And your anger has to be translated into some sort of action that compels performance. I haven't seen that yet. And until we see that, nothing will change.
Ah, mic didn't go on. I have a sticky button. Where have I heard that before? Americans need to change. And if they don't, nothing is going to happen. Everything is only going to get worse. Hello? Anyone home? ABC and NPR confused why Americans aren't feeling Biden's good economy. Americans. Wow. Fools for so long. And now these psychopathic, evil creatures are destroying you. You think it's time to do something?
I want to ask about the economy. You talk often about how the rate of inflation has begun to slow. Unemployment now at its lowest level in 50 years. But you've also seen the polls. Our latest ABC News poll shows 4 in 10 Americans say they're worse off than when you were elected. Only 16% said they were better off. So why is that? Why aren't Americans feeling this?
Well, look, I think it goes well beyond the economy. Think about it. You make the news. I mean, you interview for the news. Can you think of anything I turn on the television and go, God, that makes me feel good? Almost anything. Everything is in the negative. We're also finding out now that one of the outlets has decided that they even put things on they know to be false in order to increase their ratings. So I think things are a little out of whack, and I don't blame people for being down. You know, when you had 2 years of the pandemic, kids out of school, the mental health problems in the country are seriously increased, especially among young people. Some things are, for example, even feeling down about employment. They've got better jobs. They're making more money. Inflation is still higher than it should be, and everything from gasoline prices to a war going on in Ukraine. I mean, so I can't think of a time when there's been greater uncertainty. Notwithstanding the fact we created an 800,000 manufacturing job, we're better off than virtually any other major nation in the world economically.
It's the bad news that is making Americans feel bad. The economy is doing beautifully. They have better jobs. So what are you complaining about? And you're doing so much better than every other person in the universe. Forget the country. Go to the universe. You love your lies, don't you? And unfortunately, a lot of people who know that they're lies don't get enraged. Now, Sherry said Marty had blocked Eli. I only see that a message was deleted. I don't see where Eli was blocked. And she didn't even mean to do that. Okay, just want to make sure Eli D is not blocked. I think the moderator, you corrected it. Okay. Terrific. Thank you. So, Americans, I guess, I don't know. I think that everybody is just suicidal at this point. The great American experiment. Oh, it sure is one for the history books. How about this? Which I've posted on, which other people have posted on, and again, nothing. Biden's executive order, nightmare. Government will track every dime you spend. Treasury Secretary is on it. The Fed is on it. Our government is on it. It's coming sooner rather than later. Under this new digital currency, any transfer of funds to family, friends, charities, or clients would be able to be tracked by the nation's central bank that issued this virtual money. Big Brother will be in your wallet every hour, every day. You will not be able to buy a stick of gum without government, Federal Reserve, Big Brother knowing that you bought that stick of gum and where you bought it and when you bought it and to whom you just put down that buck. Digital buck. We should be rightfully concerned about inflation, energy independence, aggressor nations armed with nuclear weapons. Oh my God, yeah, be afraid of China, be afraid. There's so much that I disagree with in every article now. They write good stuff and then, well, we do need to be concerned actually about all of those things. But where's it all coming from? The United States government. Okay. And woke public policies that denigrate the very foundation of this great country, but these are jabs compared to the enormous destructive power of a digital currency. Option slipped into the executive order. 14067. But, hey, holy shit. What are we doing here? What the hell are we doing here? We're letting others get destroyed without care. How we relate to one another is just beyond, forget about the care and compassion. The awake, and I'm talking about the 12 years, and I'm talking about a whole lot of comments that I've seen under my videos, under other people's videos, destroying one another. I posted a video on, we don't need the elite to destroy us. We're doing a fabulous job on our own. We have so much going on because we've sat back, did nothing, and really, I'm sorry, it's been pathetic. The awake fighting one another, not being able to organize anything, even locally in your own community, can't get people to even just meet for a meeting, which I've tried. I tried in South Carolina. I've tried in a number of places. I tried in Great Barrington. Nope, no. I just want to live comfortably. Get away from me. That takes too much work. Ooh, showing up? Just showing up? That's too much for you? When your own kids are getting destroyed, that's too much for you. That's Americans. I'm sorry. If I've offended you, look in the mirror. So, this video, Jeff Snyder 2, very, very glad that someone, a subscriber, had posted this video on Twitter. 5 Secret Service cars destroyed by plasma fire directed energy weapons. I'm going to play just a few minutes of this video, but I'm going to leave the link to the video. You need to watch it, you need to circulate it. If you're not even circulating information, then you have taken this as your form of entertainment. And if you're not doing anything with the knowledge that you're getting from other people, something's very wrong. Please look in the mirror and ask yourself, why have I not done anything with the knowledge that I have acquired from others, from their work? So, this is a very, very good video. I have a vague memory of these cars, but watching his video, I was like,
5 of President B.
How did this escape me? Well, I have a lot going on in my life, and a whole lot is going on, so a lot has escaped me, but this is, watch this.
rental vehicles were smoked by plasma-fired directed energy weapons. On November 29th, I believe it was, a little over 90 days ago. There's a good chance that's why they put my channel on restriction, because I'm the only one that can see it and I'm willing to say it. The Secret Service rented 5 vehicles, and after they returned them, hours later, all 5 of the ones that the Secret Service rented went up in flames, but only under the hood. The rest of the vehicles are still intact. This is how directed energy works, plasma fire works. It comes in contact with the engine block. I've said this many times. All of the vehicles that were hit with this directed energy look the same. Notice the hood is missing. Notice the engine block is missing. I will show you some of the headlines and show you some reporting that was done on this story. Tucker Carlson covered it of Fox News. So did Jesse Water. So did a couple of newspapers. And the only reason they were forced to cover it was because it happened in the public sector. The powers that be behind these directed energy weapons that struck out at the supposedly most powerful man in the world, the U.S. Prez, and this message was not delivered to him that we can reach out and touch you anytime, anywhere. It was meant to reach the American people. Because if they smoked every single Secret Service vehicle in a garage that's owned by the Secret Service somewhere, we would have never heard about it. The only reason we heard about this was because it was rented from a public rental facility, Hertz Rental Car, and returned to the public airport and happened there. This message was meant to reach the general public. And I'll discuss more about what that message was. It's an abusive, codependent relationship. The government is your caregiver and your primary caregiver and your protector and your provider, and they are also your abuser. And when a woman is in an unhealthy, codependent relationship with a man, she feels intimidated to say anything against him or disobey him until there is a higher power that can restrain him. And then she's willing to separate from him and make the changes she needs to make in her life. But only once someone more powerful than him overthrows him, subdues him, restrains him. And that was the message that was attempted to be put out there to the general public. The powers that be of the establishment, the institution that you normally think of, like the Secret Service, are nothing. They are powerless compared to the new sheriff in town. The only power that they wield is control over the hearts and minds of the public that they hold as hostages. And before this jailbreak happens, there's been an attempt to try to extract people in the process. But they will defend their captor. They will defend their slave master. That's what this message was about. On with the reporting of the plasma-fired Secret Service vehicles, and we will talk more about that understanding in a future video. Notice the similarity. The missing hood, right? The missing hood, the missing engine block, missing hood. I'm going to show you that some of these recent fires that we've been having all over the country, this happened 90 days ago. In recent weeks, people are starting to figure out all these fires, all these explosions, all these train derailments are not coincidence. There is a coordinated effort here. This is intentional. There is zero chance that these 5 Secret Service vehicles that were ignited hours after being returned by the Secret Service, and they were the only cars on the lot that burned. There is zero chance that it was not intentional. No logical, reasonable, or rational person could even entertain the notion that this was not intentional. This should have been the leading headline, wall-to-wall coverage, and there hasn't been a word of it since the day that it happened. Jesse Waters and Tucker Carlson reported on it. One of them gave it about a 1-minute segment, and the other one gave it a 2 or 3 minute segment, and no one's heard a word about it since. This is our president being attacked in our homeland. Yet, you ask 100 people on the street, what do you think about the 5 Secret Service vehicles that got attacked, and struck, 100 of those 100 people will not even know what you're talking about. Again, notice the similarities. The missing hood, the missing engine block. And only on the front of the car. See, now Jesse Waters makes note of that. He said, how can all of these cars only burn in the front? And if they were parked and the engine wasn't running, how could the engine catch fire? This is the remnants of plasma fire that I have been speaking of for years now. That just like a microwave energy gravitates toward the densest piece of material. We'll go over that here in a minute, how the Athena laser by Lockheed Martin demonstrates exactly that it connects with the engine block because it's the densest part. Just like when you put a potato and a bread roll in a microwave, you pull them out after 1 minute and the potato is much hotter than the potato is much hotter than the bread roll because it is denser and more of the microwave energy draws toward the densest piece. This is also why in the forest fires, you will have a very dense log burning right next to highly flammable leaves and weeds. This type of fire works exactly in reverse. It burns from the inside out and the densest piece of materials first, leaving the less dense leaves and weeds. Some of these images may be repeats, but that's okay. But you can see the similarity on all of them. They all just burned under the hood. The rest of the entire vehicle is untouched.
Okay, so I'm going to put the link in the chat again because this is an important video, and I do hope that you watch it in full and circulate it. Very few do we see on YouTube who are posting the details on the microwaves and the electromagnetic frequencies and directed energy weapons and how unbelievably destructive they are. And I also want to get Jeff's channel link in there. Okay. If you want to learn something about the fires, if you want to learn something about the plasma fires, then this is where you want to be. And I can't believe that this man has only 3,000, a little over 3,000 subscribers. Well, I think a lot of people are just not interested in learning details, but this is a very important video. So, all right, I watched this. This is it What's Her Face? That was her old channel name. Now it's WHF Entertainment. All right, let's try that again. What's Her Face? Okay. The whole story. This was posted 6 months ago, and I was listening to, I got through 22 minutes. Wow, has she gone through a lot? A whole lot. In like the past year or year and a half. And I think that's why a whole lot of us weren't sure where, she had gone. because my channels were coming down. Never Lose Truth came down. Never Lose Truth 2 came down. Never Lose Truth 3 came down. I lose everybody that I'm subscribed to when the channel goes down. But, thank God. Now, I've not listened to the latter half, and I think things have picked up. But she talks about her first pregnancy and losing her baby, then her second pregnancy, the complications. It was, wow. I will link below. Oh, you can't get it off of my watch later list. Okay, so what do I have to do here? I have to. Her channel link. And what you can do with her channel. You go to search. I don't want to take that off. Go to search. Right here. Everybody has a search bar on their channels, and put in the title of the, tell me the whole story. Boy, people really go through an awful lot. And I'll bring it up. And I am putting it in the chat. Okay, so what really, I was listening to this. I had to stop because I had to do something. What is the first thing that I come across when I come back to my computer? This. I can't watch it again. I'll put the link in. So here I'm listening to someone who went through so much wanting a child. And, you know, I do know that she now has a daughter. But then you go from that and how upset she was, the trauma that she and her husband went through of the loss of their child, and then the complications of the second child, and then you come to this. Well, it's absolutely vile, absolutely horrible, disgusting. And there are people who are in this bar, and this is entertainment for them, and they're laughing about this. They think it's funny. What do they think? This is art? I'm so, oh my God, something terribly wrong has gone on. You know, a weekend of blasphemy. SatanCon's conference. 2023. Hexenach. Gathering in Boston is sold out. The group also claims the convention will be the largest satanic gathering in history. And it's coming April 28th through the 30th at the Boston Marriott, Copley Place. Scheduled sessions include Satanic Panic in Brazil, Hillbillies, Visible Satanism in Rural America, Deconstructing Your Religious Upbringing, Reclaiming the Trans Body, A/Theistic Strategies for Self-Determination and Empowerment, Sins of the Flesh, Satanism, and Self-Pleasure. You know, I'm going to play the trailer. Epoch Times, do not hit me with copyright strike, because I'm right here and I am telling everybody that it's only $4 a month, $1 per week that they'll bill for every 4 weeks. The interviews on Epoch Times are incredible. And I'm just going to play the trailer of one of, if not the most recent interview with a North Korean defector. And she says something very profound.
The tactics that are being used in America right now to control people were the same tactics the North Korean regime used to control us and enslaved us eventually.
Today I sit down with North Korean defector Yeonmi Park, author of the new book, While Time Remains.
We don't have inequality, but we are all dying from starvation. Like the enemy is poverty, not inequality.
We discuss the pseudo-religion of victimhood, the manipulation of language, and the fight to preserve the ideals of America.
This is our moment of cultural revolution in America. I don't know what it is that Americans are so guilty about. They do not denounce evil, and it's very dangerous.
This is American Thought Leaders, and I'm Yanya Kellick.
Did you catch the most profound thing that she said? Americans don't denounce evil, and it's very dangerous. I'm not the only one saying that there's something wrong with Americans. A whole lot are saying it. So you can, attack me with your comments, those of you who do. Go ahead. There's something grossly wrong with Americans. We have been comfortable and privileged for a very, very long time. Comfortable in our bubble. But millions, that bubble has been burst for millions. But they get marginalized and you don't hear from them. And frankly, you don't care too much about them. That's coming to you. That is coming to you. A whole lot of you know that it's coming to you. And yet, we don't even do anything to protect ourselves. I've been destroyed, so I'm out of the loop. God. Wow. I'll put I think it's too long of a link. So you can just go to the Epoch Times. I'm telling you, these interviews that they do are really, they need to be watched, they need to be circulated, they need to be listened to, and people have to get off this mainstream media crap. Talk about evil. School administrator tells teachers to keep students' gender transitions a secret from their parents. This is going on all over our country. How did things get so bad in our country? How? By sitting back, doing nothing, and allowing the evil to spread. What's that quote? That's how evil spreads. When the people do nothing, the good men and women sit back and do squat. Well, Americans don't denounce evil, and it's very dangerous. And there's an awful lot outside of our country, or in our country, but growing up in communist countries, who see very clearly what's happening here. Trump is talking about the U.S. government building freedom cities with flying cars. And I won't be surprised if it's a Trojan horse for a World Economic Forum style slave city for elites. He already sold, and we know, the pusher, the Operation Warp Speed guy. Okay. Freedom cities. Freedom cities? Really? 15-minute freedom cities. Look at this. Vaxxed. Governor of New York. Vaxxed. This is not what we were. These are the crazy people who the adult children bow down to and let these people that you're looking at take control over their life. Well, you know, you just get destroyed when you really are just, I don't know, just not doing anything to protect yourself. Second mass shooting in Los Angeles in the last 4 hours. We have mass shootings going on all over the country almost every single day now. All Portland Walmart stores to permanently close in late March. A Walmart store is also closing in New York City. They have a lot of Walmart stores closing down. But this is due to crime. It's due to crime. Very inexpensive to get the crime under control. But we're not doing it. Why? Because they use crime to control us. How about San Francisco? Opens the door to supervise drug consumption sites. Widespread opposition to the idea, but it don't matter. It's coming. Great idea. See, all the problems that we're facing today, we didn't face decades ago. So all of the policies that have changed and have been enacted, can Americans not get, Democrats, can you not get, that maybe it's the policies that are being enacted, and maybe it's the laws that are being violated, maybe it's the defund police, maybe it's, crime is so overwhelming that we're no longer going to respond to certain 911 calls. Maybe it's the George Soros attorney generals in states that are, well, for some reason, they are rewriting law that is actually it's the state legislature's job, but let's have the attorney generals do it. And we're just not even going to respond to theft of $950. Who cares? $950. Just let these people go. How about we're just going to rework the bond, the bail bonds, and let people, we'll arrest them, book them, and then release them back onto the street. Yay! Great idea! And what are people doing in these areas? Now, there are some who are doing something, but they need more numbers. Americans better wake up. Been too compliant for too long. Douglas McGregor. credit card. Now it's Discover. Visa, American Express, MasterCard, Citibank, they're all tracking your purchases. Now, we knew that they were doing it prior, but now you know they're doing it. Discover joins them to track gun purchases from April on. Okay. Well, you have those credit cards? You like those credit cards? I liked my credit cards. You like your credit cards? You buy a gun? Don't be surprised and don't be pissed if you haven't done anything to fight all of these agendas when your credit card company says, we no longer want you. You bought a gun. Because that has been happening. Canada, a pastor arrested after protesting a drag queen story hour event at a Calgary library. Wow. No kidding.
Okay, we don't have our cameras active. We are now calling the police. Stop. We have the police coming, so it is your choice to leave or deal with the police.
Very abusive America.
We are going to...
Love is love.
Hey,
love
guys.
is like very hateful, very abusive.
Why are you disrupting the program?
Because it's wicked. It's don't be
Okay. As a parent of kids in here, you need to get out.
Why are you so comfortable with this conversation? Because we don't understand.
Drag queen story hour for kids. A pastor shows up to protest it. The parents that bring the kids want the pastor out, and he gets arrested. That pastor needs a whole lot of people to fight this evil now. Because the evil, we allowed it to get way big. So, now we need an awful lot of people. Most people don't give a shit. Australia, you'll never have to leave. Leave what? Your city. A second city is coming to one Aussie state, but not all like the idea. A new suburb is touted to become one state's second city, but the development has prompted fears of the dreaded 15-minute city conspiracies. Yeah. Victorian suburb. Melbourne already's got it going. Victoria. Wow. The 15-minute cities, they're coming out. They're rolling them out. And everyone has to get involved because these people are following the orders of the unelected members of your government. You need to really fight this stuff. Wow. All right, well, ay. You know, and this whole war, Jeffrey Sachs posted a video. The Ukrainian war is already far more damaging for European countries, and all Europeans should be screaming at Americans in particular, because it is us, U.S., that is driving this war.
Then came Mrs. Merkel. And we've just heard a lot from her in the last week. Because she said we need to negotiate a diplomatic approach called the Minsk II Agreement. Now, I know firsthand, as we all really do, but I know firsthand, that the Ukrainians never intended to implement the Minsk II Agreement. Mrs. Merkel said last week that she didn't either. I actually don't believe that, by the way. I think she thinks that's a good thing to say now. I think at the time she wanted to implement it. Maybe not. But in any event, the bad faith was astounding because France and Germany were supposed to be the guarantors of the Minsk II process. The Ukrainians said, no way, we're not doing this. We signed it, but we're not doing it. In the meantime, the United States flooded Ukraine with billions of dollars of weaponry, training, NATO interoperability. And that brought us to 2021. So the war started in 2014 in February with the violent overthrow of a government, which we backed. And we started the war. I mean, we started to massively fund Ukraine, which is why they were able to fight this year, just as Merkel said. She said, yes, 7 years. It was a massive military buildup. And then in 2021, President Putin said to the new president of the United States, Joe Biden, stop the NATO enlargement. This has gone too far. I called the White House at the end of 2021, begging them, avoid the war. Stop this. I was told, oh, don't worry about it. NATO's not going to enlarge Ukraine. I said, great. Why don't you say so publicly? Oh, no, we would never say so publicly. I said, well, then you're likely to have a war. Yeah, no, but no, never. Ukraine's never going to be part of NATO. Well, say so publicly and we can avoid a war. And by the way, help the world to understand if Putin still launches a war that it's not about NATO. But you know what? It is about NATO. That's been the plan all along. It is, of course, it's about NATO. It's about NATO, it's about Crimea, it's about what Brzezinski wrote in 1997, that the control over Ukraine would render Russia without any power, corner Russia, basically in the back of Eurasia. That's what it's about. So I don't see Europe's wisdom in this, frankly. I just see us having walked into a trap. I see Europe as the big loser of this, by the way. I see Europe as the huge loser of this. I don't know why, when the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, that we're all silent about it. Why are we silent about it?
What's your proof?
Pardon me?
What is your proof?
That President Biden said on February 7th of this year that if Russia invades, the pipeline is finished. And the reporter looked incredulously, said, Mr. President, that is Russian, German infrastructure. And President Biden says, don't worry, we have our ways. And the U.S. does have its ways. It controls that territory. It monitors that territory. After the pipeline was blown up, our Secretary of State said, and I'm quoting, this is a tremendous opportunity to wean Europe from Russian energy. What a weird statement if you're worried about international piracy of global infrastructure. You would say it's a terrible crime, it's a threat to world peace. You would not call it a tremendous opportunity to wean Europe from Russian energy. This was part of American foreign policy. Now, the Swedes went in to clean up the debris. And what did the Swedes say? We cannot share our findings with Germany because of national security. Can you figure that one out? I can. But it's incredible. How could Sweden not share its findings with Germany and Denmark? But their job was to clean up the debris so that nobody else could investigate either. And they've done that. Now, the press, in this most remarkable act of vandalism on a key piece of international infrastructure, has not said a word in 8 weeks. Why? It's unimportant? Not one reporter is curious? When I spoke to a leading reporter of one of our leading papers, a paper that says every day that Russia did it, most likely, and I said to this leading reporter, whom I've known for 40 years, I think the U.S. did it. He said, of course the U.S. did it. I said, well, why doesn't your paper say so? And he said, well, you know, the editors, we don't really have the proof, but yeah, of course, who else would have done it? That's what he said. And then I showed him, but your paper said today that senior U.S. officials point to Russia as the likely agent of this destruction. Yeah, Jeff, you know, it's hard, it's complicated. I said, when I was young, I used to read your newspaper because you went after Nixon and Watergate and because you published the Pentagon Papers and so forth. He said, yes, but that paper is dead. So I think Europe is in a trap. And the question for Europe, in my opinion, truly, is your job to support American hegemonic aspirations, or is it to protect European security? Because these are not the same thing. They're really not the same thing.
The blowing up of the Nord Stream 2 was an act of terrorism by the United States. It's very important. And I don't think, I'd say 99.9% of the American people give a shit. I think, I really, you know, the evil, if you don't attack it and it just keeps spreading and spreading, you become evil yourself. Those who are sitting around doing nothing, you've put yourself on the evil side. I watch these comments, focus on Jesus and tribulations coming soon. Doesn't evil eventually destroy itself? These beliefs that people have keep them sitting back. It's our job. No one is coming to save us. You are your Savior. Jesus works through you. And if you're not fighting the evil, Jesus is not going to win. Jesus is losing. Why? Because there are so many Christians who are doing nothing. And they have their beliefs. They're going to heaven. Jesus is going to come down and just make it right. No, the only way that it will be made right is if Jesus is working through you. And you, if you have that Jesus, you then have to speak out. You then have the courage to do that and to fight the evil. That part has been missing. Somehow, It's got to be installed. So is Mick Sheeto, Mike? And maybe I shouldn't have asked that question. I don't like disclosing anything if I haven't gotten permission to. Jesus has already returned. Where? 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 That's the secular take on it. I don't understand that. Secular take on what? I'm a skeptic. I'm concerned that you're asking at this point, when I say do something, that you have to ask, what do I mean? I think we have really just been very lazy and not really caring too much about confronting anything, that we have not, as adults, haven't even thought of things that we could be doing in our community. For 12 years, I have been throwing out suggestions, and then you get hit with the people who write, you're always talking about the bad news, but you never, ever, mention any solutions. I have been talking about solutions. The solution, number one, is working on yourself to get yourself, yes, raise that consciousness of yours so that you can experience a care and compassion that is generative, that literally the change is overwhelming between saying that you care and then you just go about doing nothing. You just go about your own little life and you don't do anything about what you claim to care about and real care. And when you get there, you realize, wow, it's like a force that is beyond you. It literally compels you to speak out, to do what's right when you see injustice, when you see people hurting, that you do things to help them, and you step up anytime that you see injustice. Always ask, what would Jesus do? When every single day, what would Jesus do? Jesus is not going to be sitting back waiting to go to heaven. And faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith you want, you can pray all you want, but if you're not putting it into action, it's dead. And you can do all of the fancy, self-deception, just thinking, oh, well, God help me here and God help me here. I don't believe that there's a God that is micromanaging everybody's life and saving one person from a flood or a tornado and then their neighbor, too bad. No. I honestly don't even understand that thinking. But it helps them. It sure does help that individual with that kind of thinking. Makes them feel real good inside. Makes them feel like, God is working for me. Yeah, my God. I would go to AA meetings in Manhattan. This was in the 80s. And people would actually share that because there was a parking spot close to the meeting, that it was provided by God. And they were serious. They prayed to have a parking spot close to the meeting, and oh my God, there it was, and whoop, they're in. And it was God. God answered their prayers. Okay, whatever. We, all of us, have to become involved. So for 12 years, I was telling people, get involved in your communities. Get involved in your town council meetings. Find out what's happening in your town council meetings. Find out what they are doing. Find out what your state legislatures are doing. Your fight is local. Get in there. Organize with other people. There's so much that we could be doing. I said, in a live, I don't know how long ago, but I said, you see these people in the UK, in other countries, and they are plastering their news agencies like the BBC with stickies on the windows of all of the people who have suddenly, and they're covering the windows with it. And they're covering the windows with their placards that say that mainstream media is the virus. They are the virus. And they're out there and they're doing things. We don't do anything here. And I'm not talking about every individual, but the people who are actually active are so few. You could, in your local newspapers, just put an ad in the local newspapers. And, you can couch it however you want, but just finding out, who's awake. Do you want to meet up? There are, in a lot of areas, they have these local websites where people leave messages for one another, community websites. And then, of course, just helping people in your own community. So there's an awful lot that people can be doing. And frankly, I don't know anybody who's doing it. So when the evil comes to your door and starts destroying your life, you will get pissed. Do you even have a right to get pissed? I've seen it already in subscribers. Oh, they get so pissed when their taxes are going up, or when they feel the encroachment of their local government upon their lives, and they get oh so pissed. Well, I don't even know what to say to them. Oh, Jesus is in Iowa. Okay, good. Farmland. Maybe he's fixing up the farms. You're really sorry? I don't know of anyone doing anything? Really? Okay. Who is? I've posted videos. I've asked subscribers, tell me what you're doing. I don't get a response. And I've said this repeatedly. The majority don't do anything. That means there are some who do something. I see those who are doing something in like a video. They're speaking out, they're trying, but no, I'm sorry. I don't even know small groups. Look, I've had the experience. I've gone, because my experience has been a little bit different than most, and I've met a lot of subscribers wanting to organize something, try to get something together. In South Carolina, there were so many in Anderson of subscribers. I contacted them, asking them to meet up. Oh, they were doing something else, and they couldn't do it, and there was no way. They wouldn't even show up. And here you get hit with the comments. She doesn't know anyone, so obviously no one is doing anything logical. Where? Where do you see any protests going on in this country except for the Antifa types or the people who are throwing Molotov cocktails in Atlanta right now protesting Cop City? I really don't understand it. And we're big on drama. Oh, and we find the control freak. So I think it was Zephyr's Whimsy said something about small groups that are getting together and then push out other people, and then, you know, drama erupts and disagreement, and then they throw people away because they have a disagreement. It's almost impossible, you know, to organize anything, you know, with Americans, because we're not well. Be your own hero. Absolutely. What does protesting accomplish? Pfft. Okay. All right. Yeah. Nothing, so sit back and do nothing, okay? That's the greatest, you know, failure of the American mentality. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing. Protests don't achieve anything. They get people together, they get the word out, and you can experience a little bit of joy with like-minded people. You know, those protests where people are putting stickies on the BBC windows and other, you know, news agencies in other countries. They also do it in Asian countries, where I just saw this video on Twitter. The entire bridge, this whole bridge, and it was a busy bridge, but it was lined with all of these posters of those who suddenly, and people were stopping and looking and reading. I know. You know, I had posted videos on trying to get subscribers together in their area, and unbelievably, a whole lot could meet up, and their first couple of, you know, meetups with these people went fine, and then disagreement, boom, they're gone. Nothing happens from it. Oh, you know, MK Ultra, you can argue all you want with me. Take your mentality and don't change it, okay? But you've put yourself on the side of evil. That's where you are. It's very, the line, the demarcation, clear. It's clear now. But look, we've let this go, okay? We have let it go, and now it's overwhelming, and now we need an awful lot of people. I understand that. It doesn't mean that you stop. It doesn't mean that you give up. It doesn't mean anything, but now it's a fight beyond anything that we have ever experienced. And a whole lot of Americans, because they've never fought for anything, and they're not really principled. So, you know, I will die on the hill for truth. Okay? That is my guiding principle. There's not a lot of people who have that kind of principles within them that They are literally ready to take a bullet. Well, I'm glad you had at least a decent experience, Scoville, because I did hear from subscribers that didn't have a decent experience. And, but I always, had the disclaimer, I don't know any of you. I'm going to get you together, but I don't know any of you. So if it doesn't work out, don't come attack me. Yeah, you're too negative. Be happy. The quick response of, well, there's nothing we can do about it. It's almost immediate. Like, you can't even sit down and talk about what possibilities there might be. No, nothing. So, and yeah, after 12 years of doing this, I've lost patience. We are going down fast. Many people have been destroyed. Many people have committed suicide. Many people are, when you think about the kids, what's happening with these children, and we can't even organize a fight around saving them, something's very wrong. So it's just sad. I mean, it's but, a lot of people say what we've become. I think we were always like this. Now we're showing our true colors. Look, war after war after war, bombing, killing innocent people, stealing the resources of other countries, and USA, USA, USA. And, we got the lies, certainly from, the Iraq War, shock and awe. Hey, let's sit down and watch the news tonight. Shock and awe. Look at that. Boom. We're blowing up a country. We're killing innocent people. Now, there were protests about it, but every American should have been enraged, especially when they learned that it was all premised on a lie. And we just continue and continue and continue doing the exact same thing. It's just... See, when you say things like, someone is fighting for us, that means that you have put the fight in them. And that is, you've placed the burden on them. You need to fight with them. You need to support them. You need to get out there with them. Dabu is having a meet and discussion, and is he in Kentucky? Well, I also don't understand why people don't understand the consequences. Why is it so hard to look at somebody else's experience and to understand that experience, even if it's just on an intellectual level? If you understand that experience, then what are you, a whole lot of Americans still thinking, oh God, what a shame, but it's not going to happen to me? Everyone will see what kind of fight Jesus will do. Really, Susie? We're seeing the fight of Jesus. And it's almost non-existent. Because Jesus is within you. Jesus acts within you and then you manifest Jesus in your fight against the evil. And I understand that a lot of people are, disabled and have very little health left, but everybody can do something. Whatever it is, circulating the information. Forget about the result. That's up to the people that you circulate it to. However they respond, that's not your concern. Your concern is the actions that you take. Well, we have a real lack of empathy. Absolutely, Cephers. I agree 100%. And a whole lot of people don't want to understand somebody else's experience because it just makes them a tad uncomfortable. And they don't know how to respond. I mean, I've experienced it personally. I've watched it happen to other people. And it is amazing how lacking we are as human beings. Humanity going down. We are part of the human race. Okay, humanity goes down. How does that happen? Well, look in the mirror. I never hit send on this. Did it go through? The Rumble link to something just so disturbing. But when you have this kind of evil that now it's in our face 24/7, why? How did it get to be like this? You can think, maybe it has to do with the fact that we didn't fight it. We have to fight it. And all of these people, and I've been friends with them, the parents of children, it's very obvious to me that there's not a lot of parents who care about their children. So, when we have adults in our country who are doing nothing, when they know these kids are literally being abused in what we call public schools or private schools, doesn't matter, Catholic schools even, something is wrong with the adults, not the children, with the adults. So all these people claiming, life is precious and children are precious, and does it manifest? Do you see it manifesting in these people? You watch people, you observe what they do, and they will tell you who they are. Doesn't matter what they say. You watch them. Watch what they do. How they operate in life. They will let you know if they care about others or they're just caring about themselves. So, it is 8:47, and we're good at lip service. We are good at that. But the brainwashing also extends to the awake crowd. If you have difficulty facing the horror show that we now live, if you have difficulty facing how many people are getting destroyed, then you do the brainwashing yourself. You know, we all have our see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil? God. Well, it's our job to break out of it. Yeah. Hear, speak, and see no evil. Right. My brain. Well, we are already living it, and that's what is so devastating, because we are now living the era of open evil, and we're just letting it just take out people on a daily basis. Hey, Lindy London, good night to you. Sleep well. So, yeah, it's that time. And it's up to you. You know, it's like what Douglas McGregor said. What direction do you want this to go in? It's up to you. And as long as people are comfortable and they can still pay their bills, then they think they're fine, I guess. I keep looking up because I actually see a bug in the dead zone. So all of you, it's important to be a force of good. It's important to every single day, you know, regardless of your beliefs, that you literally put your spiritual practice into practice and manifest it on a daily basis and strengthen your moral core, get your principles working, operating out in life. And but that's a choice that people have to make. Do stay safe out there, because things are really getting pretty wild. It is. Everything is up to us. You know, when I think about how organized the globalist elites are, they have a goal and they work towards it. They don't let the insignificant little disagreements rip them apart. Our goal should be manifesting goodness in the world every single day. And that doesn't mean you just go on and live how you've always lived. It means manifesting the goodness in your communities, and it means speaking honestly and living honestly so that you can be a trustworthy individual. If you're not doing that, you ain't trustworthy. Is it important to be trustworthy? Oh, it's really, really important to be trustworthy. So, that too is up to you. So, what does it mean to be trustworthy? It means that you have to look at the self-deception that's going on in your own brain about who you really are. It means finding out who you really are. And it's not about being nice. Nice doesn't matter. You got nice, evil people. Nice is not the quality of goodness. Honesty is. Honesty. So, on that note, I'm going to end. I hope that you do all stay safe. And it does. Everything starts with ourselves. We have to work to, improve ourselves every single day, to become mature adults and not the adult American children. Where we actually become people of character. So, stay safe. Things are changing so quickly, and I'll be here tomorrow if everything works out on my end. I'll see you tomorrow if you weren't that offended, and everything works out on your end. Ciao.